much. Thank you for being here and welcome to this short presentation about connecting buildings to industry processes to enterprise systems. I'm Frank Schubert and I'm member of the advisory board in the BACnet interest group, and let's put it this way: small things start very early, and big things start with small things as well. And so I remember that in 2012 we met here at the Light and Building in a very side meeting. It was an Area 51 meeting in one of the nice Italian restaurants in this area. And we sat together with Mike Newman, with some guys from the University of Vienna, with the OPC Foundation, and we started founding a working group. And the task of this working group was exactly to model a data connectivity from BACnet, from building automation systems, into the OPC world, into enterprise systems, into industry processes. And a little bit later in Dresden, we met at the university to really start this committee and working group work. And as you can see from the picture, that's actually the model. We model BACnet objects into OPC UA structures. When we talk about data modeling, we of course have to check which data to model, and we decided, or the first discussions, we thought about potential use cases. So the use cases include energy monitoring, energy analysis data, but even real-time information like current temperatures, weather information, or even things like alarms and condition monitoring for buildings. We brought, well, our idea was to bring this data into enterprise systems, for example, into huge databases, big data databases. Today, that would, of course, be the cloud. Back in 2012, nobody was talking about the cloud. If you're looking here in 2018, everybody's talking about cloud systems and big data brought to the cloud systems. So when we sat together in the first meetings, we discussed how to model the observation of data from BACnet. We discussed about operating the data. That means that a human or machine operator can drive and control the facilities in building automation. That includes things like set points, like runtime parameters, but of course also schedule programs, and of course not to forget trend logging, so analysis becomes a very, very important point. And of course we also thought about engineering, so this would be the high level in connectivity, so that we can not only monitor actual data or drive the parameters, but also do some configuration of BACnet systems from the OPC world. And yeah, as said in this presentation, enabling, disabling alarm detection may be an interesting and important point for a facility manager to operate the facilities. We asked in the very early days about for support from different organizations. So the driving forces behind this standard and this mapping profile was actually the OPC Foundation and the BACnet Interest Group Europe. So these are the two major forces. But of course we included also BACnet International. It's one of the major organizations for BACnet. And last but not least, I called some guys at ASHRAE asking for support and how they can support us in this process of developing this mapping profile. And they were even granting up to 30% of the BACnet standard we were allowed to copy and bring into this mapping model. Of course, we said, okay, we don't need to copy the standard. We just need to get the right information and put it into the specification. Our intent was not to copy the standard, though. So thank you for all these organizations for the great support here, and especially to ASHRAE, which supported us pretty well. So now to become a little bit more technical, what's behind this mapping model? The scope is that we, of course, model the BACnet objects into OPC UA data structures. We model the events from BACnet into OPC alarms and conditions. The logging function, so trend logging from BACnet into OPC, is modeled into the historical access specifications of OPC UA. Last but not least, all the data structures, the binary encoding of BACnet was brought to OPC as well, and the engineering units were modified. And of course, just to give you a small story here, it was a challenge to just model the units from BACnet to OPC UA. BACnet has about 200 different engineering units. OPC UA supports 1,000 or even more, roughly 1,300. And it was not even very easy to map these things into the OPC existing data structures and existing specifications. But at the very end, we started creating this mapping, and as you can see from the screens here, we succeeded in, and we found out that both standards fit together very perfectly. So on the left-hand side, you see the BACnet object with its properties, like the current value, high limit, description text, etc. And in the middle, we specified a 180 pages document, which is, of course, available for you for free. And within this specification, we found a way to model exactly the BACnet data into OPC UA. What kind of applications do we expect? And if you have some time left after this presentation, I would be happy to introduce you to a showcase we created right before the Light and Building show here, and which was finished on time last week. So this is a typical gateway. The gateway was provided by the company Connexsoft from Munich, and this gateway now models the BACnet data into OPC UA. But of course also automation stations like PLCs, like DDC controllers may implement this mapping profile and may bring the data directly to OPC UA. And of course they can also work on the automation level and building automation using BACnet. And not to forget cloud controllers or cloud couplers, bringing the data into cloud system. And for example, Microsoft is also working pretty well with OPC UA. So with Azure, the Microsoft cloud system, it's possible to deliver the data not just by MQTT, but also with using OPC UA. Next slide shows exactly the prototype, and back in 2014, that was actually a prototype. Now it has become a product, and I don't want to advertise this product here too much, but we received great support by this company Connexsoft in creating the demonstrator here. So they actually implemented this mapping profile, the document, and it was possible to easily connect to a management station through this mapping model. And this is how the demonstrator looks like. So we have covered 8 BACnet devices using BACnet IP and BACnet MSTP. The gateway from Connexsoft is running on an industry PC, and this brings the data into OPC to Iconics on the very end, and brings it to the visualization system. We can see this demonstrator right this direction, so it's mounted at this wall, and if you want me, I can introduce this to you in a few minutes after this presentation. So putting everything together, what are the benefits of this data modeling and this connectivity? I come from the BACnet side. I was dealing actually more than 20 years with BACnet now. I was one of the early adopters, and I really like BACnet. So BACnet has a really rich object model. It covers a lot in building automation, providing the properties of typical building automation data. And of course, yeah, as a protocol, the name says it, BACnet, Building Automation Control Networks, is specifically designed for building automation. So it fits perfectly for this market. And of course, ready for energy monitoring means that in building automation, energy monitoring becomes a very, very important part of this building automation market. So BACnet is pretty much prepared for this. But On the other hand, OPC UA offers a few other benefits. OPC UA comes from the industry side. OPC UA has a small footprint. Some of you may even know the old OPC DCOM based. That was based on a Windows operating system. You always were required to run on a Windows system. With OPC Unified Architecture, this is not necessary anymore. So in this case, you can run OPC UA with a very, very small footprint. There are even devices on the market which have a 10 to 15K footprint as a small RFID reader. OPC, as I said before, is cloud ready. So, for example, Microsoft uses OPC UA in their ecosystem in Azure. It's secure, and we're now in the year 2018. The whole planet Earth got connected through the internet, and of course this raises some security aspects and issues. So OPC UA has a built-in security by design. I need to say OPC is a little bit younger than BACnet, and so OPC UA was specifically designed for secure industry processes from the very beginning. And this is a typical German thing now. The BSI, it's an agency of the public authorities in Germany, approved OPC UA as one of the protocols, or the only protocol which is really secure, so you can secure the connectivity by using certificates and encryption. And of course, the OPC UA standard is pretty well accepted in all the industry business. Coming now to this mapping profile, both benefits from both sides, from the building automation part and from the industry side, offers a lot of benefits. So both are operating system independent, so they can run from a very, very small microcontroller up to large Windows or Linux-based systems. Both are worldwide standards. BACnet has a market share of more than 1,000 vendors. OPC UA is pretty well known in the industry part, so this perfectly matches together as well. Both are also continuously maintained. This morning we've been discussing the latest addendums for BACnet. Also OPC UA is continuously maintained. For example, a publisher-subscriber model is implemented into OPC UA. So also the standards don't stop. They are always continuously maintained and developed. So that means that these both standards are future-proof. The document I was talking about, and of course I can introduce you to the details of this document if you have about 4 to 5 hours left for today. Of course we need to get some beer. So this is your homework here. I can give you the information here where to find this document. It's available for free, and the use of this document, the mapping profile implementations, are for free. This is one of the key benefits here. You don't have to pay any license fees or something. Both, as I said before, is pretty well supported by both the OPC Foundation as a community and of course from the BACnet side. And last but not least,